So, hello and welcome to another Wednesday wildlife vlog. And today is day 6 of the vlog down, and you're going to be joining me for another session with this bad boy here, which is the camera trap that I've been putting out for the last 2 weeks now. And there's another week of footage to look through since I last showed you guys it. And let's just say it's been actually quite interesting. Join me for fox fights, fox love, I guess you could call it, and also some special guests that aren't foxes. Okay, so just before we get started, I just wanted to show you a couple of things that the foxes have done this week. So obviously I've changed the camera position from last week. You may remember that the camera was actually right at the back of the garden on the shed, but this week I put it in a more open area of the garden just because I wanted to see what would happen. And also I feared that by putting the camera at the back of the garden, I was missing some of the other visitors coming into the garden, which you'll see later. I just wanted to show you what the foxes have done to my lovely patch of long grass that I put in. Let's see if we can turn the camera around. So in the last few days they have been playing in this patch of long grass and have completely flattened it, which is perfectly fine. Just means I might not get the grasshoppers that I was hoping to attract later in the summer. But they haven't just well, I'm not going to call it destroy because I kind of knew that was going to happen. But they have also been using this bit of long bushy grass thing as well. And I'm not entirely sure what this grass is. I think it's ornamental. And I'm not entirely sure what they've been doing, because it's not actually that sort of, well, yeah, it's just hard to tell what they've been doing here, except for the fact that they've been using this here as a runway. And you'll see that in some of the videos later on. So yeah, let's head back inside and have a look at what the camera's got today. So let's start off with something that I mentioned last week, and this has further been shown across the videos that I'm about to show you this week, and that is that we appear to have a family group of foxes in the garden rather than any specific individuals, and this is because they all seem to be very tolerant of each other. So here you can currently see the male and what I believe is one of last year's young just happily feeding together in front of the camera. So next is this young female, and she gets the surprise of her life. And I have to admit, this is something that I wanted to see. Well, not the fox being surprised, but I wanted to see this next animal. A badger. Now this is quite a significant record because until I put the camera trap out, there was not thought to be a badger set in the area for at least 2.5 mile radius around my house, which shows just how much we don't know about wildlife in our gardens at night, which is incredible. So to further reinforce the point that I was trying to make before about them being a family group, have a look at this. This is all 3 of the foxes that I currently identified in the garden feeding together from one tray. They did have a little bit of a scrap at each other, and that's to be expected around a food source because they all need to be sort of prove to each other they're more dominant and get their own food and to be able to survive. But it does reinforce the point that they are probably a family group. And also, it is good to see Patch eating at this moment in time because I was worried earlier in the week when she didn't show up for a day. Hopefully at some point they'll bring in some new cubs, but that might prove interesting for our female, for the last year's cub. And this again reinforces my point, as this seems to show, I think it's the male and the young female having a sort of play fight together. However, this does bring to the table another point, and this is, are there actually 4 foxes? Are there 2 males even? And are the foxes even breeding this year, if they have 2 young still in their territory? I guess the only way to find out is to wait and see what happens in the coming weeks, but it is interesting to see that. As you can see, this is just a playful fight. Nobody's going to get hurt, I should hope. but it does destroy one of the plants in the background in the making, as I showed earlier in the video. So I think this clip might just prove that this is a youngster, and it also shows the cheeky side of the foxes, because this female comes in and doesn't just, it checks the house first and then runs off with the food, which is pretty cool. But I have to admit, I have thoroughly enjoyed watching the behaviour of these foxes over the last few weeks, and trying to figure out what exactly it all means, how many there are, and also what other visitors we have in the garden. So what I'm going to do now is show you the other visitors that have been caught on the camera trap. So the first visitor is, of course, the wood pigeon. He was the first bird to find out that sometimes the foxes leave a little bit around in the garden. He's straight down every morning at 6 o'clock. Next up is the magpie, and in fact, if you have a look at what he's doing here, he's actually building up the ability to take back food to presumably his youngsters in the nest, and of course Mr. Pigeon's there as well. The squirrels have been quite fond. This is the only footage of squirrel I've got from the camera. Pretty interesting. Lovely little things they are. Green woodpecker in the background of that video as well. Obviously the local manky feral pigeons have come in. Probably shouldn't have said manky, but they are not the nicest things to look at. And also a great tit, very briefly. Oh, and another one. Oh, it's me. So I'm just going to try something new here in the final outro, and that is to try and film what is this way, landscape rather than portrait. Is that the right way? That doesn't really matter. But anyway, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoy the fox and badger footage from this week. And yeah, stay safe and see you on, what day is it today? Wednesday, so Saturday. Stay safe. So now I'm just going to leave you with a few videos and some nice music. And enjoy. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the footage. Stay safe, everyone, and see you on Saturday.